And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should any emergency arise, please notify net control, and we will stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? Station, they're calling. Do you have emergency traffic?
No emergency.
Thank you. This is a control net. We will continue hearing nothing. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be, and that's our QSO-VLOG network, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, fullest sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the QSO-VLOG network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 1,600 QSO-VLOG Aircheck recordings. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio, and today our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented dipole antenna. One leg of this dipole is running broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today, we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA-5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history with dark clouds all around, we pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net, and now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Charlie, near the Canadian border.
Yes, Jim, I may have a loose connection here. I hope I'm all right. Yeah, I'm copying you direct 10 to 15 over 9, direct. And we have picked up 10 inches of snow. That was yesterday and the day before. And high temperature yesterday on the the 20. Well, anyway, I forgot the date. It got up to 23 degrees. But right now we're having gale force winds. It's way up in the low 40s. And we're down to only 4 inches of snow left, Jim, if you copy. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Now, Charlie, what are gale force winds? How fast?
Winds, how fast?
Anything over 39 miles per hour. 39 miles per hour, that's when you get into the gale force area. I've got an interesting recording for you, and this is partial from a year ago, February, on your program. And the reason I'm doing that, it's a weird propagation that occurred locally, and yet not locally. I was working my friend Art, K-A-1-Y-Z-U, who lived 7 air miles northeast of me in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, and he's now a silent key, unfortunately, a silent key. But he was coming in on a reduced echo, a double echo, which was a longer echo than going around the world. So I thought you might be interested to have a sort of a semi-replay of that, Jim. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sounds good to me. Roll the tape.
Good to me. Roll the tape.
Okay, and here it is. And also a comment I put on the back end of it. Here it is. Preceding recording was made on the 18th of February 2020. What it was, I was talking to, this is K1GZL, George Zebra London, Clarksville, Northern New Hampshire. I was talking to Art, KA1 Yankee Victor United, and he is 7 air miles to my northeast in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. And Art noticed when I was calling our normal group together, and we were around 3757, that I had a double return echo. A double return echo was quite an astonishing delay. So that was fascinating, and I noticed it on Art also. I noticed it on Art. There was quite a delay. And it was some kind of an SDR somebody using an SDR because we had on frequency K2QNU Lou down there in South Plainfield, New Jersey, not too much more than 325 or 40 miles to my southwest, and Bob K0WOJ out in St. Peters, Missouri. Both those stations, absolutely no echoes, no other stations or anything being dubbed in, and yet we had this tremendous return echo that you just heard on this recording, and the delay was at least a third of a second or maybe a half a second. The only thing I could come up with, if there wasn't some kind of a very, very clever SDR recording, but no one else heard it. That it must have been coming from out in space. Now, for a delay like that, it usually takes an eighth of a second to go around the world. Now, this was more than that. This was more, but where did it come from? It might have come from out in space, being reflected back somehow or other from, say, 30 or 40,000 miles out above the planet and being returned. That would make sense. But that is above where the satellites are circling the Earth, and where the geophysical or whatever it is satellite that is up there permanently up there. And so this is an anomaly that I have never heard before, and since I was licensed as W2 Zebra George back in the fall of 1948.
Okay, there you are, Jim. I'm sorry to be so long on that, but that was a weird situation. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger. So my first question is, everybody that was on your frequency was experiencing this echo return. Is that a Roger?
Was experiencing this echo return. Is that a Roger?
No one else heard it. Nobody heard it whatsoever. There was absolutely no one else. It was just Art and myself had this weird situation, as if it were a narrow beam picking us both up and reflecting it back. No one else was on. We had one station that was listening down in southeastern Pennsylvania at Reading. There was another station out near St. Louis, Missouri, KA1YVU, K0WOJ, and K2U, anyway, Lou, down in South Plainfield, New Jersey, which is 25 miles southwest of New York City. They heard absolutely none of it. It was just Art and myself, as if it were a narrow beam coming right back on top of us, Jim, and that was really incredible. Go ahead.
Roger. Now, the next question is, what is the layer after the E layer as you go out into space? Is there another layer after the E layer?
Out into space. Is there another layer after the E layer?
Oh, yes. The way it works, the D layer is something that absorbs the frequencies like 75 meters. That's not awfully high up. The E layer is out about 70, 80, 90 miles above the Earth. And then the F layer is out, that can vary a bit, but the average is 150, 175 miles above the Earth. And above that, there's no more layers. The normal radiation, or the highest radiation under normal band conditions that we get up and down on the frequencies in the high frequency realm, is about 150, 170 miles or so above the Earth, and that is the F layer. F as in Fox.
the F layer. The next layer down closer to the Earth is the E layer, and that's where you get a lot of this short skip, like in the summer on 10 meters or something. Signals will blast you up out of your chair 600, 800, 900 miles away on the E layer, and we even get it here on 40 at different times of the year, especially in the warmer months. So this was absolutely way beyond the regular transmission layers that we use, Jim. It was incredible, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, thank you so much for sharing from your recorded archive those moments of history, because one does not often encounter like that kind of an echo return. It indicates that, gosh, a long ways away to get that kind of a delay. Charlie, 73 up that way, sir. Thanks for joining us. Roger.
Hey, Charlie, 73 up that way, sir. Thanks for joining us. Roger.
Okay, well, beautiful, Jim, and we'll try to catch you next week, and you're only coming in good. Wait a minute. Well, I thought I had you on here. Okay, I thought I had you on here. Nope, I guess I don't. Well, I lost it. Okay, 73, Jim. We'll catch you next week. K1GZL. By the way, we've had 197 inches of snow for the season so far.
Unbelievable. 73, Charlie. This is the KC9VKV QSO-VLOG net. Just a reminder, my name is Jim. KC9VKV, I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV along with today's date, 4/23/21. And that will take you to our directly to this recording. If you would be interested in maybe looking at some other recordings of Folks Audio, if you go to YouTube and do just the call letter search, KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, we're running about 1,600 QSO-VLOG recordings. So this is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo number 4, Mexico, Ocean, Germany.
Kilo number 4, Mexico station. Come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Mexico station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Kilo number 4, Mexico, Ocean, Germany.
MOG, Roger. What's the name there, sir?
MOG, Roger. What's the name there, sir?
Roger, name is Gene, and I'm running up the linear because I know I'm probably down today. I'm only running 35 watts here right now. Over.
Fire that bigger on up. You're right. You were in the noise. Bring her on up and let's see what we got there, sir.
In the noise. Bring her on up and let's see what we got there, sir.
Okay, just stand by for a second here. I need to tune something and I'll be right back with you.
This is the KC9VKV QSO-VLOG net, and we're in QSO with K4MOG Gene, who's diligently trying to bring up his power amplifier, which we could use at this time. All right, Gene, how are we doing there, buddy?
Gene, how we doing there, buddy?
Okay, got 36 more seconds of warm-up, Jim. Where are you located, over?
Roger, we are located essentially just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger?
Side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger?
Roger. Okay, very good. Well, we got 8 more seconds to go here, and we can give you a little power. We're copying you about S9 here,
About S9 on the Flex 6400, over.
Roger, Roger. Well, Gene, gosh, I wish we would have maybe started with the power amp ready to go there, sir. But anyway, we should be right about now ready to do it to it.
We should be right about now ready to do it to it. Okay, now we got kilowatt on. How's that, over?
Roger, it seems to have affected your VFO. Check your frequency. We're on 7188. Roger, Roger.
Check your frequency. We're on 7188. Roger, Roger.
Yeah. You know, I'm using a Flex. You hit the screen, you hit your mouse, you hit anything, and it goes sliding off. That's all it is. Everything's recovered, over.
Roger, Roger. We're looking good there, sir. Gosh, if you'd be interested in our setup procedure, if you give me maybe about 10 seconds on your antenna so I can hear your audio, we will begin with the setup.
On your antenna so I can hear your audio, we will begin with the setup.
Okay, well, 400, the OM2000, the 6400, the OM2000 plus linear amplifier to kilowatt. That's driving a Johnson Matchbox tuner. The tuner is tuning 120 feet of ladder line out to a double ZEP, 160 feet long, fed in the center. So that's the rundown on what we're running here. Over.
Roger, Gene. What's your location, sir?
Roger, Gene. What's your location, sir?
Between Marietta, Georgia, and Powder Springs, Georgia, 20 kilometers northwest of Atlanta. Over.
Roger, yeah, I'm copying you better on Milford than Georgia. But anyway, what's the radio again?
You're better on Milford than Georgia. But anyway, what's the radio again?
The radio is the Flex 6400.
Roger, Roger, sir. Okay, our generic setup procedure starts with engaging your compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what we need it to do. So if you would begin by engaging your compressor at a 3, 30%, 30 out of 100, 3 out of 10. Roger.
30 out of 100, 3 out of 10. Roger.
Okay, this is kilo number 4, Mike Oscar Golf. Well, let's see. I'm not sure what I've got on the compression scale here. It looks like it's about 25 dB. No, not 25 dB compression. The full scale minus 25 dB, and I'm hitting 2 units on a scale of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over.
Roger, Roger. Now, on that Flex 6400, do you have a compressor input control? Do you have a way to adjust the compression input control, like a knob or a slider or something? And if so, how's it labeled?
A slider or something? And if so, how's it labeled?
No, I don't. I really don't. Probably we really can't set this up for the simple reason that it's totally different from what you're used to dealing with, and they actually require you to run a setting called processor. Just to get your audio in shape there. I guess you'll just have to let me record and hear it a 3 or 4 days, and then I'll know how it's sounding. Over.
Roger, do you have a control, a reference that will show you how the activity of your processor in dB, like 6 dB compression? Do you have something that would give you a reading like that?
Something that would give you a reading like that?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm telling you. I have a compression indicator. It goes from 0 to minus 25 dB, and I'm compressing minus 10 dB at the current point. Now, what the minus 10 dB means, I have no idea. Over.
Roger. Well, it looks like it's doing its job. The next step after the compressor is going to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, you would be adjusting your ALC level for mid-scale to 2/3 by way of mic gain control. Roger.
Mid-scale to 2/3 by way of mic gain control. Roger.
Yeah, I understand, Jim. I'm afraid we're not going to be able to do it, and I've got nothing like that. I've got no ALC to display here. The Flex folks do it totally different. So maybe I better let you go on with somebody else and catch you another day, or try to figure this out, what my compression means, should mean to you. Over.
Roger. Do you have equalization capabilities?
Roger. Do you have equalization capabilities?
Yeah, I do have an equalizer. I sure do.
Roger, Roger. Is that what kind of an equalizer is that?
Fairly close to
what kind
I think what we did last time. But where do you see the holes? Where should I be filling? Over.
I should be looking at the top end boost, probably about 3 dB, 3 clicks. What did you say your equalizer was? How many? 3-band, 4-band, 10-band, 20?
Was it how many? 3-band, 4-band, 10-band, 20?
Well, let's see here. I have to count them. 63, 125, 250, 500, 1, 2, 4, and 8. So we've got 8 bands of equalization. Over.
Roger. Okay, and at the top you have, looking at it coming back down, you have 8, 4, and 2. Is that a Roger? Would that be the normal progression?
8, 4, and 2. Is that a Roger? Would that be the normal progression?
Yeah, 8, 4, and 2. 1, 500, 250, 125, 63.
All right. I would go on the 4, and I would add plus 3 on the 4. And plus 2 on the 2 also. And let me hear you.
Plus 2 on the 2 also. And let me hear you.
Okay, this is Kilo 4 Mike Oscar Golf. We're up 3 on the 4. Over.
Okay, what's your reading exactly at this point on that that reading? Is it, you said it's 4, right? So what's your reading on that as far as, do you have any EQ left to go harder, further?
Do you have any EQ left to go harder, further?
No, I'm sorry. It was 4, and I'm now at 7. You said increase it by 3. Over.
Yes, sir. That sounds good. We're just adding a little edge to your top end for intelligibility. Looking at your dynamic range, you are precisely where you need to be, about 3 dB dynamic range. If one gets fatter than that, the words start to blur, and you defeat the purpose of intelligibility, which is what we're shooting for right now. So your dynamic range is 3 dB, which means your average percent of peak modulation is right at 80 to 85%. Roger?
Percent of peak modulation is right at 80 to 85%. Roger?
Roger. Okay, very good. Well, that's what I wanted to check with you. And I'm very sorry I don't quite understand how to put my compressor readings into what you're used to with the rigs with the knobs, but they don't give me that capability. Now I can go from normal to DX to DX plus, and I'm not sure what that does, but right now it's on normal. Over.
All right, try a DX, and let's hear that.
All right, try a DX, and let's hear that.
Okay, this Kilo number 4, Mike Oscar Golf. We're normal. Now we're DX, 1234, 4321. And now we're DX plus, 1234, 4321. Now we're dropping back to, let's see, we'll come back.
Sledgehammer time.
Now we're back to DX, 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 DX. And now we're normal again. 1234, 4321, K4MOG.
Roger, Roger. The DX sounded very nice. DX Plus kind of is falling apart. I wouldn't use DX Plus. Kind of defeats the purpose. But DX by its, is nice. And what we're normally looking for is about a third of the possibilities on the compressor. It's just, we don't want bunches that suck up between words, We're just looking for about a third of the capabilities of that compressor. And I think that DX by itself sounds pretty neat. It also sounded like you might have had a shift in EQ simultaneous with that shift to DX, Roger?
DX, Roger?
Well, it very well could be happening. As you know, the Flex 6400 is a software rig. Everything is done in software. And they may have done some boosting on the equalization when I go to the setting on DX. Right now I am normal, and I will go back to DX, and if you like, we can adjust. Okay, now we're on DX. Compression is about minus 23 dB. So on DX, I am getting compression of minus 23 dB, over.
Roger, now that I listen to DX, I do hear a little distortion there, so I think you're better off without DX or DX Plus, just normal, Roger.
I think you're better off without DX or DX Plus, just normal, Roger.
Roger, okay, now we're back to normal. We're back to normal, over.
Yes, sir, that sounds more relaxed. The other was kind of like shooting for the moon,
The other was kind of like shooting for the moon,
Yeah, Roger. Well, thank you very much for that. KC9VKV, I believe, K4MOG. And I think the band just left us, Jim, over.
Roger, well, it'll maybe come back. The other thing is, as far as your ALC, we're looking for at least mid-scale to 2/3. That's our normal setup. So later on, if you have time to actually look at your ALC, we want to go halfway capability of the ALC and maybe just a little bit more from mid-scale to 2/3 would be ideal. But as I'm looking at your audio, it does look like you're at 3 dB now. So I think you'll find that your ALC is pretty much running that way, Roger.
I think you'll find that your ALC is pretty much running that way, Roger.
Okay, very good. Well, I thank you for helping me on the setup. And when do you think we might have a recording? I'd love to hear it, over.
Yes, sir. Well, we say 48 hours. We give ourselves 48 hours, but many times we're half that and even sooner. So it could be like Saturday morning, It just depends on what's happening. But outside it'd be 48, but most of the time it's a lot sooner than that, Roger.
It'd be 48, but most of the time it's a lot sooner than that, Roger.
Okay, well, we'll check it out, and I sure do thank you for taking a look at it. Are you using a VU meter to look at the dynamic range, over?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, Roger, okay. Well, thank you very much, and we'll take a listen at where we are today.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, the thing about a VU meter is you can see dynamic range very easily there. I've been looking at VU meters for over 50 years. I joke I can tell where the meter's going before the needle leaves the post, but it's real easy to see the dynamic range. It's how the meter hangs, you know. And 10 dB, which is unprocessed, the VU meter is reading like a normal VU meter. It's bouncing around, you know. And as you continue to compress the audio or reduce the dynamic range, the meter starts hanging towards the zero set point. And there we joke about it. There is 7610 that has a unusual control on it that allows you to really scrunch the audio. And we played a game that once and just tuned that for max, where we reduced the normal 10 dB dynamic range down to about 1 dB dynamic range. Actually, it's about half a dB dynamic range. And so the VU meter was just quivering right there at zero set. It looked like a plate voltmeter, Roger.
There at zero set, it looked like a plate voltmeter, Roger.
Okay, Roger. I'm trying to grasp the concept of dynamic range as you're explaining it. When I think of dynamic range, I think of probably where the audio is sitting without any modulation all the way up to the peak of the modulation. And the dynamic range is whatever is between those two values, but that doesn't sound like 3 dB to me, over.
Roger, well, look at it this way. Unprocessed audio typically has a 10 dB dynamic range. That is, if I had a VU meter tied to a PA system and you were speaking on the PA system, the meter would be bouncing from zero set level down to a minus 20 or somewhere down in there as you spoke. And we would say that unprocessed audio has a 10 dB dynamic range. Well, that's great, but when it comes to transmitting that audio, we want a fatter signal. So what we need to do, by way of the compressor doing just a little bit, and then up in the ALC range where we're running a mid-scale to 2/3, we start to reshape that dynamic range to a lesser range than 10 dB. We pull it to 3 dB. And at 3 dB, we have very nice audio. It's not blurry, but if you continue to compress audio from 3 dB to like 2 dB, dB and a half, or dB, it starts to get blurry after 3 dB. So I've chosen 3 dB as the target for the fatness of the signal. Roger?
For the fatness of the signal, Roger.
Roger. Okay, well, when I think of a VU meter, I was in broadcasting for a while, and, I monitored everything on the VU meter sitting on the console. And, when we played a record, the idea was to adjust the VU meter for 100 or 0 dB maybe. I forget what the scale was. I think it was 1 to 100 or something like that, or maybe 1 to 125. And then the compressor was set up to, take over from there. So that's what I'm trying to equate in my mind. How this signal relates to 3 dB. And still don't have it, Jim. I'm sorry.
Roger, well, Google it. Google dynamic range, and you'll be able to see the curves there. And, if you're playing music, if you were playing top 40 music, that music is already compressed to probably a dB and a half dynamic range or less. So when you air it, the actual processing of your equipment is null and void almost, because the music is already usually so fully compressed that you can't do much more to it,
It's so fully compressed that you can't do much more to it, Oh yeah, Roger, yes, absolutely. It was compressed.
and then by the time our RCA compressor got through with it, it was compressed even more. The modulation monitor, the peak modulation was between 95 and 100, and just hanging there. And of course, we had the unfortunate situation of having a transmitter that was behind two glass doors right there in the control room, and the blowers made so much noise that if we stopped talking, within 5 seconds the blower noise was probably up to 50% modulation. So yeah, I know how it used to go. But in my mind's eye, Jim, I see you sitting there looking at a VU meter. I see my signal being displayed on that VU meter, and I see myself, the peaks. Actually, if I stop talking, the VU meter is at some level. At the peak of my speech power, the VU level of the VU meter is at some level. And that's what I think of as dynamic range. Over.
Yes, sir. That's exactly it. And it has to do also with the speech rate, because if you talk like that, it would drive you crazy trying to figure out what the dynamic range is, because it doesn't stack up that way. A normal speech pattern is a given rate, and you can tell by the way the meter moves at that rate exactly what your dynamic range is. Now, on the other side of it, if you were to play back this recording and you had a VU meter tied to your speaker system on your computer, you would see exactly what I'm seeing, Roger.
You would see exactly what I'm seeing, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Okay. Well, assuming my receiver did not modify it, yes, I can understand that very well. Well, I'm sure there are some other people that want to get tested, Jim, so I'm not going to hold you, and I look forward to hearing the recording, and I thank you very much for your help. Over.
Yes, sir. And just go ahead and Google dynamic range. You will find it fascinating. That's a whole study within itself. But you'll be able to read the concept and maybe see some graphs that will indicate exactly what they're talking about when you have a dynamic range shift from 10 dB dynamic range to 3 dB. So 73 there, Gene, and we'll say you have a good afternoon and a great weekend, Roger.
And we'll say you have a good afternoon and a great weekend, Roger.
Roger, and Jim, I want to wish the very same to you. And again, I thank you for making this recording, and I look forward to hearing it. We'll catch you later, and if I don't like what I hear, I'll be back, okay?
Yes, sir. You have a lifetime ticket. We are going to start another thing, and that is for the stations that tend to be S1 everywhere, which means they're not getting out. We're going to start talking about antennas, and I'm going to be suggesting a tuned dipole antenna as an antenna that really has the capability of getting out, and also because it has directional capabilities that if they have an idea of precisely where they want to put their energy, a dipole antenna will assist them in that. Roger?
A dipole antenna will assist them in that, Roger?
Oh, yes, it will. But, Jim, I'm running into more and more amateurs today who have homeowner restrictions, and they are using antennas wherever they can get them, and a lot of them are those that are those S3 in the noise signals. Over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm hoping that maybe, depending on how dedicated amateur radio operator they are, that maybe there will come a time in their life that they'll be able to do better than the just the odd length long wire antenna, and move to something that is attuned antenna, which is so much more efficient, and you avoid having to go through antenna tuners and loss of power in making a bad antenna look good, and you still wind up on the air with a bad antenna. Roger?
Look good, and you still wind up on the air with a bad antenna. Roger?
Roger, yeah, well, that's part of the trick too. Every little loss that you have when you're working with a compromised antenna hurts you even more. But that sounds like an interesting session that you're going to have. And what day are you planning on doing that, Dover?
Well, I think I'm just going to do it as we go along. You know, I use 4 internet SDR receivers that have been geographically chosen in a grid to help the less ERP inclined stations. So, you know, and I have them all come up on a rotary selector that I can run through 4 SDR receivers, internet SDR receivers plus my own, in about half a second to find the hottest one. And if they're all in the mud, then we're going to talk about a new antenna system for that individual. Roger?
We're going to talk about a new antenna system for that individual. Roger?
Roger, yeah, okay. I think today, though, is an exception. I believe that the band probably has suffered from some type of ejection from the sun in the last day or so, maybe the last 2 days. I've just not heard it drop off like it is now. Over.
Roger. Well, we'll find out as we continue down the road of life. Gene, 73 to you, sir. Really enjoyed it, and like I say, we'll be posting this in the next 48 hours for sure, but probably less than that. Roger. 48
hours for sure, but probably less than that. Roger.
Roger. Final question. How are we doing on all 4 receivers that you're monitoring at the current time? Over.
Okay, why don't you tell me in about 15 seconds what you like about your flex, and I'll run through it. Now, I have a thing called an input source indicator, which is a row of vertical lights, and off to the right is what they are, like my receivers 1, New York 1, PA 1, and Georgia 1, and Virginia 1. So I can just run through them, and you can see where I am and what the audio sounds like. So if you would like to begin, I will go searching. Roger?
Would like to begin? I will go searching. Roger?
Okay, well, this is located in Marietta, Georgia, Powder Springs, Georgia, and really that comes out to about 20 miles northwest of the capital city of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And what I this particular week, the band is not in the best of conditions. I believe there's probably been some solar ejection or something disturbing the ionosphere because the band just doesn't have the crispness and some of the other characteristics that you normally hear on 40 meters. Now, I'm totally aware that the band does change with season, but I don't think that's what's going on. I think we have an event. Over.
Roger, Gene. Well, my Rochester SDR has flaked out. That happens from time to time. They have all these kind of rules that you know, if there's one that's called inactivity. If I don't do anything on an SDR, internet SDR, it will kick me off. And then if you know, another thing is like a half hour, 45 minutes, depending on how they're set up, they'll kick me off, and I got to go back. And but on Rochester, I did have a password. And that was really nice. That was one of the few that I actually had a legitimate password. I could go in, and it was good for as long as I wanted to be there. And now I can't reach it, so I don't know whether it's down temporarily, down permanently, or maybe I've just been kicked off, you know?
Permanently, or maybe I've just been kicked off, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. You should have paid your rent, Jim. And then you wouldn't have been barred from using it. But, yeah, we understand. And we'll let you go and check back with you probably in the near future. Over.
Yes, sir, Gene. Certainly. All right, sir. And we'll say 3 to you, sir, 73, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend, and enjoyed it. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 8, Charlie, Romeo, Delta.
The Kilo 8 station, come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
The Kilo 8 station, come back slowly phonetically with the call sign.
Kilo 8, Charlie, Romeo, Delta.
CRD, Roger, Roger. What's the name there, please, sir?
CRD, Roger, Roger. What's the name there, please, sir?
Name is Papa Alpha Uniform Lima, Paul. And the call sign is Kilo 8, Charlie, Romeo, Delta. I have my band pass set at 100 to 2900. My processor is set at 30%. My mic gain is in between your 50 to 67%. And I'd like to get my tone EQ adjusted. Its radio is a Yaesu FT897 Delta.
Roger, Roger, Paul. Now, we're talking ALC here. What is your ALC reading? You want to be mid-scale to 2/3 by way of mic gain control. That doesn't really matter where the mic gain control is as far as numbers. It's only how the mic gain affects the ALC. So we want to have our ALC meter up, and then as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain control to where your ALC is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
To where your ALC is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger, I did that, Jim. My mic gain is adjusted so that my ALC is between the 50% to 67%. Over.
Yes, sir. Looks good there. Now, okay, give me about 10 seconds on your antenna system so I might look around and see if I can find a better path for us. Roger?
Look around and see if I can find a better path for us. Roger?
Roger, it's a port FedEx antenna, 26.5 feet, oriented north and south. That's here.
Okay, Paul, I didn't find a better path. Matter of fact, the path that I had kind of kicked out underneath me here. If you still have a copy, go back and tell me where you're located, Roger.
If you still have a copy, come back and tell me where you're located, Roger.
Peninsula, and I'm running a MD Mike David 100 desk mic.
Okay, one more time on your location, sir. Michigan, Roger, sir. Roger, sir. Well, my my receiver for that is should be Milford. Should be close to that. But I've heard your audio, and I would suggest that it looks good as far as your dynamic range, nice and full. So I think you're on target there. I think what you need to do is go to your EQ and crank in 2 dB boost on the treble. From where you are, +2 boost treble EQ from where you are. Roger?
Boost treble EQ from where you are. Roger?
Roger. The radio I got, the FT897 Delta, has a very primitive EQ. It's only got an off position, a lower emphasis position, a higher frequency position, and a mid-range position. I currently have it on the higher frequency emphasis position. Over.
Roger. So, Paul, what you're saying is that you have a 3-band EQ. Is that a Roger?
That you have a 3-band EQ. Is that a Roger?
Roger. Roger, but it's not. It doesn't have any fancy adjustments on it. It's you just pick on the 3 positions and that's it. I do have some adjustments I can make on the MD100.
Oh gosh, what kind of adjustments on the mic?
Oh gosh, what kind of adjustments on the mic?
Well, on the mic I can go, right now I'm bypassing the mic filters. I have a position where high emphasis is plus 6 dB at 3000. I currently have that off. I can turn it on and try it.
Yes, sir. Paul, do that. Engage that capability.
Sir, Paul, do that. Engage that capability.
Okay, Jim, I have the high emphasis plus 6 dB at 3000 hertz.
Roger, Paul. You're only about now 3 dB above my noise level. Hopefully, the propagation will come back. I'd like to hear you a little cleaner. But what you might want to do now, since you have engaged that boost, is go back and double check your ALC to be sure that you're still mid-range to 2/3. Recheck your ALC since you have changed your EQ. To be sure that your mid-range, that your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
I'm sorry, that your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It's okay.
All right, gosh, I was copying you on the Georgia SDR. Tell me about your antenna system, sir.
Oriented north and south, over.
Yes, sir. I finally got you fairly well on Milford. Repeat what you just did so I can hear you clear on Milford.
Milford, repeat what you just did so I can hear you clear on Milford.
The antenna is an inverted V, 80-meter horse sense. I'm running it through a tuner. It's 26.5 feet tall, and it's oriented north and south, over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you know, I would suggest, and this is a new part of our QSO-VLOG operation here, is that, you know, you're down quite a few places. The only place I'm really copying you is Milford, PA. And, you know, I think maybe 100 watt, you're transmitting 100 watts at this time. Is that a Roger?
100 watt, you're transmitting 100 watts at this time. Is that a Roger?
Okay, I'm thinking, gosh, if you made that a resonant, tuned dipole, that you might be more, as far as the ERPs happening there. You might check that on Google. It's called a resonant dipole antenna, and when you, you know, run those, you don't have to run an antenna tuner. You know, and the antenna is much more efficient because it's tuned for the frequency that you're operating, Roger?
It's tuned for the frequency that you're operating, Roger?
Roger. I'm going to make an adjustment on my tone EQ and see if it makes a difference. Does this help at all, Jim? I just switched over to another position on the tone EQ.
Sounds pretty good, but I would double check my ALC. It sounds like you might be hot into your ALC, or you might be working the microphone differently. Maybe that's it. You must constantly try to adjust the microphone in the same manner all the time. Your proximity to microphone is critical, so I would always, you know, make sure that my distance to the microphone is constant. Roger?
Distance to the microphone is constant. Roger?
Roger. Is this helping my situation any bit? I just made an adjustment to the mic gain.
Yeah, but what you want to do now is look at your ALC. Don't just grab that mic gain. The mic gain is an instrument that makes your ALC meter correct. And what you want to do is run mid-scale to 2/3 by way of manipulating your mic gain control. And you use that for any time you change microphones, you change EQ. You always want to go back to your ALC meter and double check your reading as being mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting your mic gain control.
Mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting your mic gain control.
Roger, roger. I'm watching my ALC and it's still fine. I could try switching back to the stock microphone and see if that helps.
Yeah, that would be interesting. You have that, just plug it in, take the other one out, plug this one in?
Just plug it in, take the other one out, plug this one in?
Roger, just have to unplug one and plug the other one in.
Yeah, go ahead, let's see what we got there.
Yeah, go ahead, let's see what we got there.
Okay, Jim. This is KH0D. I switched over to the stock microphone. MH31. It's a Yamaha. It's a Yaesu microphone. Over.
Okay, make note of where your mic gain is at the moment. Make note of where it is at the moment, and then go to your ALC and adjust your mic gain on up to make allowances for the mic that you're using now.
On up to make allowances for the mic that you're using now.
Roger. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. 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 It's mic gain looks good there. Our ALC looks good there, Jeff. Over.
Roger. I like the other one, frankly. I think the other one had a lot less transients, like mouth noises and stuff. So I would go back to the other one. And since you made note of where the volume is on your mic gain, just take it back to that place where you made note.
Mic gain, just take it back to that place where you made note.
Before I switch mics, there's a switch on the back of this mic. I just switched it over. Does this sound any better there, Jim?
I think your other mic sounded a little brighter. The other mic sounded a little brighter, which means that it had a little more articulation capabilities than the mic that you're on right now, Roger.
Articulation capabilities than the mic that you're on right now, Roger.
Roger. I'm going to switch back over to the other mic. Over.
Roger.
Roger.
Okay, Jim, I switched back to the other mic. I adjusted the mic gain to reflect what it was previously. How does this sound?
Oh, I think you got it right there, buddy. I would run like that. Sounds really good. And so we have something for recording. Well, again, why don't you tell me what you like best about your radio?
Recording. Well, again, why don't you tell me what you like best about your radio?
It's an FT897. I had it for about 8-9 years. It's been a very good radio for me. It's menu-driven, which I like. It's portable. I did yesterday, so that's my next radio I got to set up. Back to you.
Roger. Well, unfortunately, we lost propagation there about halfway through that. I went to Georgia, and it was somewhat better, but I think there's enough there that you can see what's going on. I think we're right on top of it. So let me say 73 to you, sir, and we'll be posting this up on YouTube in the next day or so, and you can hear your radio recording from beginning to end, Roger.
Your radio recording from beginning to end, Roger.
So my dynamic range is up to 3 then, Jim?
Yes, sir. Looks good. As long as you keep your ALC at mid-scale to 2/3, your dynamic range will be 3 dB, and that as long as your compressor's on at a 3.
3 dB, and that as long as your compressor's on at a 3.
Roger, roger. Thank you for your help. Appreciate you helping us tune up us amateurs tune up our radios. Thank you very much again. Very much appreciated there, Jim. KH0D out.
Roger, Roger, Paul. I wish we had better conditions, but they are what they are. So, in any way, folks, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date 4/23/21. It will take you directly to this recording. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 8. Papa.
There was a November 8 station. November 8 station. Give me your call sign slowly, phonetically again.
November 8 station. Give me your call sign slowly, phonetically again.
November 8. Papa. Echo. Papa.
November 8 Papa Echo Alpha, was that?
November 8 Papa Echo Alpha, was that?
Papa. The last character is Papa.
Papa Echo Papa?
Papa Echo Papa?
Roger, Roger.
And what's the name there, sir?
And what's the name there, sir?
Yeah, we're located here in Southwest Florida.
Yes, and what's the name?
Yes, and what's the name?
Papa Echo Papa, you copy KC9VKV?
Papa Echo Papa, you copy KC9VKV?
Papa Echo Papa station, I think we doubled a little bit there. This is KC9VKV. Come back and let me hear you, sir.
This is KC9VKV. Come back and let me hear you, sir.
Yeah, the name here is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo, and we're located in Southwest Florida.
Roger, Mark, and what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Mark, and what radio are you running, sir?
We're running a Kenwood PS480 Aircheck, Hotel X-ray.
Hotel X-ray, Roger?
Hotel X-ray, Roger?
Roger, Roger.
Okay, Mark, why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system?
Give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system.
Okay, Jim, we're running a 40-meter loop, and it's in a delta configuration, but it's horizontal. So it's a horizontal delta loop cut for 40 meters, and it's tilted slightly, tilted just a little bit. So one corner is up about 30 feet, and the 12 to 15 feet. Roger?
Roger, Roger, Mark. Okay, if you would be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with your compressor engaged at a 3. Our setup procedure starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. Roger?
Procedure starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. Roger?
Roger, we can do that. We'll adjust that right amount here. Let's see here. We're going to drop it down to, there we go. Now we're at a 3, Jim. Go ahead.
Roger, and then we move to our ALC with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, I want you to adjust your ALC to where it reads mid-scale to 2/3 by way of your mic gain control. In other words, adjust your mic gain control to so your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3 as you speak fairly rapidly to keep that ALC meter up where you can see what it's doing.
We will do that right now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're still not quite there yet. I need to crank it up just a little bit more. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's about half. Is that okay, or want me to go a little higher?
Just slightly higher, mid-scale to 2/3, Roger.
we're going up there now. So that's about, let's see, that's still hanging in there about a half. Let me see what else I can do here. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. Now we're up to about two-thirds, Jim, about two-thirds of the way up.
Yes, sir. Now, do you know where your equalization is?
Yes, sir. Now, do you know where your equalization is?
Yes, I'm looking at it here on the screen. Do I need a little more treble or bass or what? What do I need?
Yes, sir. On treble, 3 clicks boost, treble EQ from where you are. Boost treble EQ 3 dB, 3 clicks from where you are, Roger.
3 dB, 3 clicks from where you are, Roger.
Okay, there we go. I boosted it a little bit there. I can go a little bit more yet. How does that sound?
I think you got it right there. That sounds really good, Mark. Now, why don't you tell me about the best thing you like about your radio?
About 15 years or more. I've never had a moment's trouble with it, so I would say reliability is a big thing. And of course, I like the 200 watts. Those special situations where I need just a tad more power. And I've generally gotten good audio reports with it. So overall, I think those are key things. The receiver's not too bad. But for an old low-cost radio, I think overall I'm very pleased with it.
Roger, Mark, I think we're done here, sir. I think you've got it. Sounds good. And if you would like to hear it, go to YouTube, do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 4/23/21. It will take you directly to this recording. Roger?
4/23/21. It will take you directly to this recording. Roger?
Very good, Tim. Well, I appreciate it. And thank you very much for the help. And you have a good day there, 73, and we'll go and listen for that YouTube video here in a couple of days. KC9VKV, this is NATEP. Thanks again.
Yes, sir, Mark. I wish we'd had better propagation, but, we have to deal with what we got. So we'll say 73, sir. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
William 1, Ida, Peter, Nancy.
The William 1 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
The William 1 station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Yes, sir.
Well, you kind of faded down there again, sir. And my Rochester SDR, let me work on that just for a minute. That Rochester is as important as, I can't bring it up. Not doing well. And I know that's not there, not found. Okay, never mind. Anyway, Whiskey 1 station, come back and give me your call sign one more time, and let's hope we have better propagation.
Give me your call sign one more time, and let's hope we have better propagation.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Right at this point, you're only a couple of dB above my noise, and I cannot pull you out. But let me give you some suggestions of what you might do, and maybe that will help. First thing in our setup procedure for your transmitter is to engage your compressor at a 3. Turn it on and adjust it as a 3. And once you get your compressor in line at a 3, move to your ALC, and I want you to speak kind of rapidly, 100, 200, 300, so you can get the ALC meter up to see where it's going. And with mic gain in hand, I want you to adjust the ALC to where it reads mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 by way of mic gain manipulation on your ALC. Roger?
Thirds by way of mic gain manipulation on your ALC. Roger?
That's going to be, hello, 123, 123, 123. 3, it's going to be around 27 or so percent. And the compressor is at 3. Go ahead.
Oh, suddenly you're there. I think you might have had a low level. So now you have your compressor in line. We're just reviewing here. Compressor in line at a 3. And your ALC is now reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
And your ALC is now reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Yes, it is.
All right, now it's very important that you continue to work that microphone just exactly the way you did when you were setting up your ALC, because we want the same readings now that we adjusted with, you know. So it means that your proximity to the microphone is the same as your setup. Roger?
Proximity to the microphone is the same as your setup. Roger?
Roger, it's a headset, and I have not moved it.
Okay, our headsets, we recommend that you take the boom and extend the boom out as far as you can go in front of you. Take it as far as you can go straight in front of you, and then at the last minute make a 90-degree. So that boom is, we want to get that boom away from your mouth as far as we can. So straight out, and then a 90 at the last moment. Roger?
So straight out, and then a 90 at the last moment. Roger?
That should do it right about there. I don't think that, that's showing the same kind of response on
Okay, Mark, I lost you there, but if you can still hear me, now, since we have repositioned the microphone, I want you to go back to your ALC and readjust your ALC for mid-scale to 2/3. You'll probably have to bring your mic gain up a little bit hotter, but the same mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
The same mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger that. That's just about where it is. Mid-scale to 2/3. Maybe just a bit high. I'll drop it back a little. 4%. Go ahead.
Okay, so I would now go to my EQ page. You familiar how to do that?
I would now go to my EQ page. You familiar how to do that?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right, on EQ, I would crank in a little more top end for intelligibility. Is that a 3-band EQ? I tell you what, let's drop back a little bit. Give me your call sign again, please, sir, slowly, phonetically.
Back a little bit. Give me your call sign again, please, sir, slowly, phonetically.
We've had bad conditions again. All right, we'll do that later. If you can still copy me, the thing is we want to add a little more articulation to that microphone. So if you have a 3-band EQ, this would be treble push, 3 dB push additional from where you are. 3 dB treble push, 3 clicks of treble push from where you are. Roger?
3 clicks of treble push from where you are. Roger?
Okay, I just did that. I've got it set up. An Icon 7300. I don't know if that gave you enough audio to mess with. Go ahead.
I'm actually copying you on my local antenna almost. I do have a signal there. It's encouraging. Now, I want to hear your audio as best we can. So if you'll give me about 10 seconds on your antenna system, we'll see what we got.
Okay, I'm running a
See what we got.
Okay, I'm running a chameleon. A 40 meter, 20 meter, and 80 meter. 40 meter, 20 meter, and 80 17 meter set of the M6. They're maybe 30 feet off the ground. I'm in an HOA, so I have to go off. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Roger. Well, gosh, my local antenna kind of fizzled out, so I had to go back to Milford. But now that we've got the radio kind of set up, let's concentrate on getting some particulars. Again, give me your call sign slowly, phonetically, Roger.
Again, give me your call sign slowly, phonetically, Roger.
All right, let me listen on my local antenna. Again, call sign, please.
Whiskey 1, India, Papa, November.
Whiskey 1, India, Papa, November. Roger.
Roger.
And your name?
Name is Earl, and we have talked before.
That's E-A-R-L, Earl. Roger.
Yeah, there's an E on the end.
Yes, sir, Earl. And what's your location?
I'm in Indian Land, South Carolina, about 150 yards from Charlotte.
Roger, Roger. And you say you're running a 7300?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, and I was copying you on my local antenna, so I think we're just about there. The main thing about your boom mic is we want to avoid plosives. That's the main problem with headset microphones, boom mics. They do tend to sometimes have more syllabic noise or mouth noise than they do the ambience of the word. So I think yours sounds fairly clean, Roger.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. This is a new microphone from Heil. I have the Pro 7, but it's got to be a little too heavy for most days.
Roger, Roger. And I wish I had a better signal, but I'm looking at my spectrum analyzer, and you do have low frequency content, so it's a fairly broad frequency response that you're transmitting, Roger.
I'm assuming that's a good thing.
Yes, sir. Now, the only disadvantage of that is if you get into a situation where you have, Mother Nature sometimes doesn't bend all of this signal at the same time. And if you have a bend that, all of our transmissions occur by skywave. And if for some reason it would be a little bit further out that it bent back in some, then it might pose a problem of cancellation. Because it would arrive at the same place just a little later than the primary signal, but it would be like maybe out of phase with the original, and so phase angle cancellation starts at the top of the band, audio frequency-wise, and so you might have this great balanced signal top to bottom, but if you were to get into one of those situations, it just whacks the top end off and you're left with the bottom. So in that case, a lot of bottom end response would not be necessarily advantageous. Roger?
Okay, I understand. Go ahead.
So, that is not a normal occurrence. Usually the bend is so complete that you don't have that. But you can tell when it's happening because you can start hearing this kind of thing, and the word, the top end articulation starts getting soft on the incoming signal that you're listening to, and you can tell it's getting rolled off. Roger?
Yes, I've heard that a fair amount of.
Alpha Charlie 3, Golf Delta.
Golf Delta station, stand by just a moment. Anyway, Earl, I think we're done, buddy. I think you're sounding good there. And we will be posting this up on YouTube. Like I say, I wish we did have better propagation, but I'll be posting this up on YouTube in the next couple of days, probably sooner than that, but outside a couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 4/23/21, it will take you directly to this recording. Roger?
Roger. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful rest of the day. I always appreciate listening to you. Sometimes I just tune in and listen. I don't call. Anyway, this is W1ITN, clear with KC9VKV. Great day, dear. Thanks again.
Roger, Earl, 73, sir. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. Other station calling, come again?
Kilo 4, Victor Foxtrot Whiskey.
All right, Kilo 4, Foxtrot, and what was the rest?
Victor Foxtrot Whiskey.
Victor Foxtrot Whiskey. Roger, what's the name?
Hey, yeah, the name here is Mark. Really just trying to get an antenna report. I just put this antenna up today, and
Just running 100 watts here into a inverted V dipole. Over.
Roger, Mark. What radio are you running, sir?
7610 ICOM.
Yes, sir. And what's your location?
Julian, North Carolina, just south of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Roger. Well, we can set that transmitter up if you might be interested. We have a setup procedure for it. The 7610, it's a very unique radio, and it has some interesting characteristics that other radios don't have. Our setup procedure starts with engaging your compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what we need it to do. So if you'd be interested in the setup for the 7610, it starts with the compressor at a 3. Roger?
Okay, Roger. No, not really interested in that. Just really first contact here since I got my antenna up. Just wondering how it was doing.
Well, your dynamic range is about a 7 dB, sir. So your average peak modulation is probably around 50%. Whereas our setup view, you would wind up with an 80 to 85%. And I'm not even going to go into the drive aspect of that 7610, which would give you another couple of dB of modulation. But anyway, sounds good, sir.
All right. Well, I do appreciate it, and I'll let you get back helping some of these other guys. I thank you, sir, for the radio check, and you take care, 73 K4 VFW.
Roger, Mark, 73, sir. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And gosh, we're turning into a pumpkin here, just about. We do that at 5 o'clock. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Echo 8, Papa Charlie Oscar.
Kilo Echo 8 station, come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
Kilo Echo 8, Papa Charlie Oscar.
Papa Charlie Oscar, Roger. What's the name there?
Angel.
Roger, have we spoken before, sir?
Looking on my list, maybe we have, maybe we don't. No, I don't think we have.
Roger. Well, I just have run across a few angels in my life, sir. But anyway, where are you located, Angel?
I'm in Michigan, Midland area.
Yes, sir. And what radio are you running?
IC73.
Gosh, radio of the century, sir. That's a beautiful radio. All right. So would you be interested in our setup procedure?
Yes, sir. What is that?
Okay, it starts with the compressor engaged at a 3. Compressor on and at a 3. Roger?
I'm a new rookie at this, so I will not know much about anything.
All right. What I suggest then is you take notes and then apply them as you can as you read the book and find out where things are. Our setup procedure starts with the compressor processor. They call it, it's the same thing, compressor processor, turned on and at a 3. Just the compressor at a 3. Roger?
Roger.
All right. Then we move to our ALC. And you'll have your mic gain in hand as you get your ALC meter up, and you'll have to speak fairly rapidly and transmit 100, 200, 300 to get that ALC meter up where you can see what it's doing. And with your mic gain control, you want to adjust your ALC to where it's running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger, it's to 2/3 adjusted. Yes, sir.
All right, and then I would go to my EQ, my transmit sideband EQ, and I would boost 2 clicks hotter top-end treble EQ than where you are, plus 2 top-end treble EQ from where you are on that EQ. Roger?
Roger.
And I think that would do it for you, sir. I think you would be then at a 3 dB dynamic range with a very articulated audio curve. Roger?
Roger that. Thank you very much.
It looks really close right now, a matter of fact. And if you want to hear where your audio is, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 4/23/21, it will take you directly to this recording. Roger? And
3 Golf Delta.
Standby Golf Delta. And Angel, I think we just completed our setup just in time because it looks like our conditions have changed. So let me say 73 to you, Angel, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net, and there is a station calling. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Jim. Alpha Charlie 3 Golf Delta. My name's Norm, Macklehattan, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to let you know that you were 5'9", 15", and I understand what you're doing. I think that's absolutely fabulous, helping everybody out.
Roger, sir. And what radio are you running, sir?
991A, sir.
Alrighty, and what was the name?
The name here is Norm, short for Norman. And I am located in north central Pennsylvania, and I am on QRZ, and right now it's a high gain, high tower junior, not the high tower, but the high tower junior, with 4,400 feet of ground radial.
Roger, now is that vertically polarized, Roger?
Roger, it is vertical.
Roger, Roger. Do you have a AB alternative that you can sample your horizontal against your vertical, Roger?
Roger, I am on an end-fed long wire right now. The SWR is about the same on both. I seem to like my vertical overall. However, oftentimes the horizontal is a better antenna to use. It depends how the propagation is.
Roger, yeah, I just sit there and play with my vertical and horizontal just as a habit, you know, because things shift. And there's nothing worse than being on the wrong antenna at the right time. You want to be on the right antenna at the right time, Roger.
I agree, Jim. You are stronger on my vertical, which is what I've been using. I wanted to jump in and let Earl know he was a 5'9" and 10. And when VFW Mark came on from North Carolina, I wanted to let him know he was a 5'9" and 10. But you are very busy. Angel was a 5'9", and I just wanted to let him know that they were actually doing pretty good after you helped them out.
Yes, sir. Well, our intent is to achieve the best sounding station possible. That is through increasing the dynamic range, actually reducing the dynamic range to about 3 dB, which is a nice full audio, 80 to 85% average peak modulation. You get much past that, and it starts to blur. Like 2 dB dynamic range, you would start to blur. So we want to avoid that. We want as crisp signal as possible, and that involves EQ. And I might suggest to you, sir, that maybe just a little more in the top end might help your audio too, as far as articulation. Maybe a +3 from I'm not sure what radio that is, but is that a 3-band EQ or what?
I can change things on my microphone. I don't know if this made it better or made it worse. The setting that I originally had seemed to be okay for the most part. However, I just got the microphone, so I will admit that there is some wiggle room for improvement. It has a 9-band EQ on it. It's the Yaesu M1, and I can play with it. I can put in a set of headphones and listen to it.
Roger. Well, you sound like you might be upper mids pushed a little bit, and we want to go up higher than that. So what I usually do is try to keep my mid-range stuff flat from, say, 500 cycles to 1.5 K. I'll try to keep those flat because the whole idea of equalization is the bottom balances to the mid-range and the top balances to the mid-range. And if you push the mid-range, it's so much harder for the top and bottom to catch up for balance. So for that reason, I keep my mid-range 500 cycles to 1.5 5K relatively flat, and then that it makes it easier to balance push the top end maybe 3 clicks a little bit hotter around 3K to increase the intelligibility.
Roger. Okay, well, thank you for the advice. Again, this is a learning curve. Again, it sounds as if you do. And I'd like to say thank you for assisting people with their audio, because I have noticed a lot of people have a misconception about how people should hear them, and it can cause an awful lot of problems above and below their transmitting frequency. So, Jim, with that, I'm sure there's other people out here monitoring that would like to speak with you. I will give you 7 3s. Jim, I'm also going to send you a QSL card, old-fashioned. I don't care if you return it. KC9VKV, this is AC3GD, 7-3, sir.
Roger, Norm, 73 to you, sir, and I hope you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And if you, again, want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by today's date, 4/23/21, it will take you directly to this recording. So 73 for now, sir, and you have a great weekend. And with that, that will conclude our broadcast for today. We've enjoyed it so much. Hope you have. And if so, then maybe join us next Friday when we do it all again, the good Lord permitting. So with that, this is KC9VKV returning this frequency to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV clear.